What's going on, everybody? It's Josh, aka the Muscle, and I am here with a Next Up podcast with my boy Ty. Talk to him, introduce yourself, let them know who you are, let them know your Instagram and shit like that. That way they can follow you right off the jump.
Yes, I am Ty Bender. I'm currently an amateur bodybuilder. I compete in open. I've always done open bodybuilding. You can find me on Instagram. It's just Ty Dustin underscore 22. I work for Axe and Sledge in customer service, and I just got into online coaching a little bit ago, so that's starting to pick up. But I'm also an athlete with Axe and Sledge and All American Roughneck as well. So that's pretty much my thing right now. So
Awesome, big demo crew guy. How long have
yeah.
you been coaching for?
Um, I started I coached a few, so I did my first show ever in 2022. I started coaching a few of my friends after that, like just for free or like $50 a month. And it's just one of those things that like slowly picked up ever since then. I'd say more in like 2025 is when I got more serious about it. I mean, I have like 12 to 15 guys right now. So it's just starting to pick up. It's definitely what I want to make my career out of. So it's something I'm very passionate about, and I'm pursuing to be able to make that like my full-time thing.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's
Mm.
definitely something cool. I mean, I'm probably right around that same. I always hate counting how many clients I have.
Yeah,
Um, it's something that's like annoying as hell to me. I don't like counting how much money I'm making from clients either. I like to remember the people as the people. Like I know your first and last name. I know where the fuck you live at. Like that's what I care
yeah,
about. So it's always cool to hear somebody else who's like not doesn't have a ton of clients, but like you could probably name every single person off your list right now if you wanted to. Um, but I got a couple things. So Ty and I first met over at the Detroit Pro in 2024. I was an angsty little bitch when I came up to him, which is probably the best part of the story because then when we finally like got around to me not being an angsty little bitch and finally had our first conversation, I turned around and I was like, "Hey man, I'm sorry." So shit happens and you move past it, and that's a reason to never burn bridges and or be a dick to that degree. But what I want to get into is talk to me about the Notebook guy and why that is the nickname that you go by or that you have.
so that's something that Seth gave to me. So I moved to Pittsburgh in the summer of 2022, a month after I did my first show. When I first moved to Pittsburgh, I had no affiliation with Axe and Sledge whatsoever. I was actually working a construction job. And then later that year, I found out Axe and Sledge was hiring, so I applied for them and I got in at the warehouse. And then I didn't get to see Seth a whole lot at that point because Seth doesn't spend a lot of time at the warehouse. But I got to, like I said, Seth got to know me better. And once Seth knew that I was a competitor, we just started to hit it off together because obviously, like Seth's real big into bodybuilding himself. And then I got promoted to customer service a few months after that, and then I got to see like Seth almost on a daily basis. And he just kind of got to see my process of everything, of how like every day I showed up to work, I have these two giant ass coolers that I take with me everywhere. And then finally a few months later, I got to train with him, and he noticed that I always had this notebook with me, and he's like, "Well, like what's that? Like what's that about?" And I'd always have like my diet written out in it, like my PEDs written out in it, like my weight, like whether I was bulking or in a prep or like whatever I was doing. I had like everything written out in a notebook, and like I do the logbook thing in the gym as well. So Seth just kind of gave me the notebook guy as my nickname because he thought it was pretty cool how like when he used to bodybuild, he used to keep everything in a notebook as well. And now, like in today's world, I feel like a lot of people probably still do the same thing, but they keep it all on like spreadsheets or just in the notes app on their phone. And like for me, like I'm just real big on pencil and paper. Like when I go to the gym, like I put my phone on do not disturb, and like those are my 2.5 hours where like unless my mom is calling me, like I am not picking up the phone for anyone, and my mom knows when I'm at the gym not to call me unless it's an emergency. So like when I'm training, like it's just me training, and like I don't have to worry about anything on my phone. It's just like that's why I kind of like the notebook.
That's fucking awesome. I
Yeah.
um I mean it's gonna lead us into our first topic of are you a live by the logbook, die by the logbook type of guy, or are you, you have a little freedom? Do you allow your clients to have some freedom with it?
Yeah, I recommend that they do it. like I said, I do it myself, obviously, but I don't do it like I'm not like the Jordan Peters where like every exercise for every body part has to go up in weight or like has to make some type of progression, whether it be in rep or like adding a half pound plate or something like that. Like I'm not always about that. I kind of just like it to like track my big lifts mostly. Like I have an arm day in my split where I just straight up train arms and I track it more for like to keep track of my volume and stuff like that, but it's not like I'm not trying to beat the logbook on an arm day every time I step in the gym.
Gotcha. Yeah, that was my that was kind of why I left the logbook. Was
Hmm.
I remember I was in prep 2024, and the weights are going down, your reps are going down, and I just kept getting
Hmm.
so frustrated and it would
Yeah.
ruin my day. And I
Hmm.
just started going like, yo, I'm not doing this shit anymore. Fuck the logbook. I threw it out the window, like I couldn't do it.
Hmm.
And then I worked with Dino Estrada. That's who I refer to as Spanish Drano, if you guys don't know. So I worked with Spanish Drano, and I had such high volume that like keeping a logbook felt like a monumental task.
Yeah.
So I
Hmm.
like 4 sets to failure on a hack squat, and 4 sets to failure on a leg press, and 4 sets of leg extension, 4 sets of adductors. Like, yo, I'm not writing all that shit down. So I threw the logbook out and I just kept tracking my big lifts, like the ones that kind of mattered, like the first 2 sets.
Yeah.
Um, and then from that point forward, like I am, I don't want to say anti-logbook, but I almost use my Instagram and my recording of my sets as a logbook.
Hmm. Yeah.
And I don't even give a damn about how many reps I get. I record it for the period of time. So I crop the video to right, let's say it's a hack squat, right when my knees start to bend to the last rep, whether that's an assisted rep or the last rep that I could possibly get by myself. And I track the time, and I have two little metrics of like the assisted rep time versus a non-assisted rep time. And once I see that, that's how I track my progression from that point forward. I know the weights that I'm going to use because I own the gym.
Hmm.
I kind of I know exactly what plate I use. I use the 2.5, the York 2.5 instead of the IGX 2.5. Like,
Yeah.
does it make a
Hmm.
difference? No, probably not. But like, I know which one I use. I'm going to use the same one over again. Um, so I just wound up like, I only really tell clients now to use the logbook if there's someone who I know doesn't have the greatest ability to train hard.
Hmm.
This is now your barometer. This is, hey, you got 100 by 12 last week. We're shooting for 13 this week. If you don't get 13 this week, you sure as shit better not get 11. So it's almost like an honesty tracker.
Yeah, and the thing is too is like I think the biggest misconception with the logbook is like with the whole Jordan Peters thing, it's like people think the only two ways that you can make progress are either weight or reps. Like I don't think they take into consideration like quality of contraction. Like for you, it's time under tension, which I think is massive. Like I think that that's a big one that a lot of people like. There's multiple ways that you can progress a lift without changing the weight or changing the reps, but just straight from like execution and how well you're getting that muscle to contract under the load. But
100%. You see this mutant next to me?
yeah,
Yeah, he's about to do damage at Universe in a
oh
week
really?
week and a
That's
half.
pretty big.
Yeah. Worship Malik right there. So if you
Oh,
guys are
that's it. Okay.
following,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. Hmm.
yeah, freak. Fucking freak. Massive. He had to walk out without a shirt on just a mug. He knew I was doing a podcast. That's
Yeah.
why.
Hmm.
Um,
He works with Compton, doesn't he?
yep. Yeah,
Okay, that's what
and
I thought.
they're
Yeah.
they're fucking killing it. He
Yeah.
looks great. I don't know if he wants me to say how much over the cap he is, but like he's getting close. So pretty
Yeah.
fucking sweet. It's exciting to see. And we were supposed to do Universe together, so I kind of bailed on him by just going into a show 5 weeks early.
Jumped
So
in
like,
a little early. Yeah.
yeah. So now it's like to me, I'm like, all right, well, I got like 11 days until Universe because he's got 11 days till Universe, so I'm here. But it's whatever. I want to get into, you mentioned having an arm day and like tracking your volume.
Yeah.
How many times over the last, let's say, year or so, have you gone into the gym for that arm day and just said, yeah, fuck the logbook. I'm just getting a nasty pump, getting in and getting out. Is that something that you ever do, or are you just meticulous
I
and have
would
to tracking?
no, I would honestly say like I kind of like arm day because it's the day that I'm like the most free with like logbook anything. Like I don't like some days I don't even write like what exercises down I do. I just wrote how many working sets for biceps and how many working sets for triceps. I mean, it's just like the one day where I go in and just try to get the craziest pump that I can. Like it's a very it's almost like therapy. Well, I mean, anytime I go to the gym, it's like therapy, but it's just nice because it's like I don't have anything to worry about. It's just literally me going into the gym and just getting the nastiest pump that I can.
Be careful with that, bro. Some people get PTSD from bodybuilding, so you can't be
I know.
using it as therapy.
Yeah, I know. I know. It's gonna ruin my life, you know.
Yeah, I swear, like I've never had an arm day in a program. I think I posted on Instagram like 2 or 3 times already that like this is my
Yeah.
first arm day since I was 16. Um,
Speaking of that, I actually I just tried out I saw you do it. It's like the free motion cable machine where you do
yeah,
like the single arm with your elbow braced, like on
yeah.
the other side of it. Dude, I tried that the other day and it smokes the long head of my tricep. I absolutely love that movement. Like,
So that I can't even take credit for it. Funny enough, his name is Pete, and he is a diehard Axe and Sledge dude. All of his
oh,
shit is All American Roughneck. Um,
yeah.
and he showed me that because I get like crippling elbow pain.
Hmm.
Um, like I'll get elbow pain to where like I can't press for like 2, 3 days.
Yeah.
Uh, so when I turn around and I try and do triceps, like I have to find the 1 or 2 exercises that make my elbows not kill the entire time. They still
Hmm.
hurt, but like not kill. And for whatever reason, when I put my elbow up against that arm,
Hmm.
there's no pain. So
No.
that's one of the few I can crank out until it's over.
Hmm.
Um, and you could also kind of change how you do it too, to where it comes in front of you a little bit if you have your elbows in front of you, or you
Hmm.
could put them as far behind your head as possible. Where bodybuilders just not very far, but like
Yeah.
you can get some sort of shoulder health benefits out of it too. So it's
Hmm.
definitely one of my more favorite movements to do. Um, and again, like you can just crank that fucker until it doesn't move. And then you can sit in an extended stretch, make Dante Trudell proud, and then you're good
Yeah.
to go. So it's definitely something that I really love to I love to hit. So one of my favorites. Have you tried the daisy chain tricep push down?
Okay. I did I bought daisy chains off of Amazon, but I'm very like particular about things. And when I bought the two daisy chains, like they weren't, it seemed like they were a centimeter different in length. So like when I hooked them up, it always felt like my one of my arms was like getting more tension than the other because the one rope was shorter than the other. So I don't know if it's just I got a bad set of them or
I
what,
do think
but
I think they're off a little bit normally.
yeah. And like for me, like that really bothers me. I don't know if you've me and Seth talked about it in an arm day video that we did a while ago. Ben Chow and Carlos Philbrick posted an arm, I think it was an arm day or a back day, but they had like this rope and it doesn't have any handles on it, but you like wrap it around your hands. Like it's technically on Amazon, it's an arm wrestling training tool. So
Yeah.
like, but it's what I use. It's very similar to a daisy chain because it's long enough where you can use it like a daisy chain. But I just I use that. That's what I use personally. But I definitely do like that movement for sure.
Sure. Sorry, I just got a bad text, but uh
No, it's all good.
yeah, I absolutely love it. It's one of the few movements that does not bother my elbow. And on the off chance it does, all I have to do is just rotate my elbows in a little bit and it completely goes away. So
Yeah.
it's easily my favorite thing in the world. But also in the aspect of like one being off a little bit, if you use two what are the fucking clips called?
Carabiners.
Yes, two carabiners.
Hmm.
Normally that alleviates that too,
Okay.
because one just sits a little higher than the other normally.
Yeah.
So that
Yeah.
could
I'll
be
probably just
it.
have to mess around with it, but
Yeah, but I mean that's one of my favorite movements. I want
hmm
to talk to you about volume.
hmm
And what is your when you're sitting there and you're programming for a new guy, let's say intermediate, not small, looks like he's been training for a while. comes from a background of like not super advanced with movements, can't really do like a good barbell back squat.
Yeah.
What's your volume look like for that person? And how do you almost build the skill of training for them?
So I'm definitely not going to go low volume in that case, because like you said, training is a skill, and like they don't really have that great mind muscle connection or anything. So I'll definitely go on the higher side of things of like 3 to 4 uh working sets like per exercise. I'd like to try to go a little bit higher in volume, just for someone in that situation, just because like they can't be precise as somebody who's more advanced. So like that's where I like to start out and see how they respond, and then kind of go from there.
Awesome. So when you're when you are building that, let's say it's somebody who struggles with like their delts, they don't feel
Mhm.
their delts at all. They're really bad with like a lateral raise. How do you personally like to cue it, describe it? What's your go-to?
So for me personally, like obviously like being around Seth, he's super big on volume, especially for shoulders. Seth loves like dumbbell side laterals, and Seth does them in a very aggressive manner, like Branch does, where like he's doing like a calf raise with a hip thrust, and it's almost like an upright row. But like Seth has such a good connection in his delts. Like I watch it happen. It's like he does 3 sets, and it's like his shoulders expand 5 inches. Like it just the mind and muscle connections there. Like, and for somebody that like when I first started out, I don't have that much muscle. I don't have that mind muscle connection. So like for me, and I think it's completely like over the last year, my delts have grown so much, and it's what I try to start all my guys with. The movement that I like the most is just a cable, um, like a cuffed cable side lateral. I know that makes me sound very sciency, um, but
I'm right there with you. That's my favorite lateral raise variation.
yeah, and I just spam it with volume. I do partials till failure. I think that's a massive thing that's helped me build connection in my delts. It's like I try to get my guys to start out, like I said, with a cable. I just think the constant tension of the pulling on your delt and like never letting off, like with the dumbbell, obviously, at the bottom, like the bottom half movement, there's not much resistance, then it kind of gets heavier at the top where you're your weakest. So it's like I feel like it's hard to build a contraction when you don't have a lot of muscle there to start out with. So I like the cable side lateral. And like I'm a big 15 to 20 reps, at least 4 sets, maybe even do it. Like a lot of my guys, they have like a chest dominant push day and a shoulder dominant push day, but on each of those days, I'm doing at least 4 sets of cable side laterals, just trying to and I try to tell them to like I like to let it come all the way down to like where my hands like in the center of my body, and then like dragging. I try to cue when I tell people, I think about like dragging your hand out towards the wall, like trying to
Mhm.
go outwards first. So a lot of you see a lot of guys try to come up first, and that's when they get real trap dominant, and it's almost like an upright row. So I try to tell people to like drag their hand across the floor, push your hand out away from your body as far as it'll go, and then you're like naturally let your hand path up. That's kind of how I cue it though, personally.
Yeah, I love that. I love that approach. So how I've always taught the lateral raise, even though I love the cable lateral raise, if somebody just purely can't connect with it whatsoever, like they
Mhm.
really struggle with shoulders, I'll tell them to take, their best pump pre-workout. In this case, I'm gonna say some sort of glycerol like liquid. Just I found that that works the best for like volumizing the self for that
Yeah.
for normally like a natural person. If it was us, I'd say 20 milligrams of Cialis. Uh, take a 5 pound dumbbell or 2 5 pound dumbbells and get 100 reps. However the fuck you got to do it, get 100 reps. At some point during that constant repetition, you're gonna feel your side delt contract at least 20 times. When you start to feel that, when you practice it over and over again, let's say you do 3 days a week of this just monumentally long set, you're going to build a connection to those delts. And now I'll tell you, hey, I want you to take the 10-pound dumbbells. I want you to do 25 reps for your first set. On the back off or on the next set, I want you to grab something like a 30. I want you to just whip it, like get it up. That high rep where you now have a ton of blood in there, and right after you're going to something heavier, I feel like builds a connection and builds some density to the delts just because you're now not only did you volumize it first, but now you're turning around and you're using a weight that's actually going to do something. I
Yeah.
much prefer the lateral raise, but I found that some people, if you can't connect with a lateral raise and a dumbbell, you're going to struggle like a motherfucker to do it in a cable lateral raise. And then you see some people, their arms are like all the way up here, like going all the way in front of them, or like they're trying to almost do it like behind the back while lying on a bench. And it's like, hey,
Mm,
listen, we are missing the plot.
yeah.
Um, then you got some kids who like this has started happening here, and I'm going to put an end to it very soon, where they're seatbelting themselves to a bench and then they have, something around their elbow and they're doing a lateral raise. And I'm like,
Yeah.
yo, what the fuck? Oh, I'm trying to keep my fatigue low. Yo, you're an idiot. I'm sorry, you're 17 years old. You're not having
Yeah.
fatigue.
Yeah.
There's
You
no
don't need
such
to
thing
worry
as
about
fatigue.
fatigue. Yeah.
Like I've said two things recently that like I've caught some flack for. And I was like, if you're over 30% body fat, there's no such thing as fatigue. You have the fat stores to fucking use. And second, if you're sitting there and you're under the age of 25 and you don't really have a job or you don't really have responsibilities, you don't have fatigue either. You're just choosing not to fucking sleep. If
Literally.
you're 17, bro, eat. Just fucking eat. You're very unlikely to get fat unless you already were fat.
Hmm.
So I I wish I could go back because God, if I didn't play college football and I turned around and just said, "Hey, I'm just gonna bodybuild in college," I would have trained 3 times a day, eaten everything I could off the meal plan or the dining hall, and I would have slept the entire rest of the day. And I still wouldn't have gone to class because I didn't go to class while I was in college. So, hey, that's exactly how I would have run it. I wanted to get into some of the questions that we got as well. I'm really hoping you're not frozen. Are you frozen? No, you're good.
My back now.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
All right. Cool. So we got some pretty good ones actually. So I had where is it? Funny enough, the guy Pete, who I was talking about, said, "Sick. When is the collab?" I'm pretty sure I said that we were recording today. So Pete, maybe we should read, brother. All right. So biggest thing Ty has learned from Seth outside of bodybuilding, life lessons.
Oh man, there's a lot. I think the biggest thing I've learned from Seth is just that whether you've failed or you've had a lot of success or like you've achieved what you considered was your end goal, is that like there's always more work to be done. Like yesterday's home runs don't win today's game. So whether you've when and that can go the other way too. Like if you've failed epically or like you've had a lot of success, like no matter what, like the work literally never stops. Like there's always something more you can be doing or working to get better at. So like that's something I always tell myself. Like anytime I feel like I've accomplished something, like in bodybuilding, that's like a big stepping stone for me. It's like, well, it doesn't matter because like there's still more to do. Like we can always do more, and I just think that's something that's kept me very humble and just like always realizing that there's something more I can be striving for.
I love that. If for some of the people on my channel know, you probably don't know, I was suicidal towards the end of college, um, and an alcoholic. And in my pursuit of coming out of that, I actually found Seth's like chicken and rice motherfuckers video.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And I've said to him when I met him that like that video probably changed my life more than I could even really remember. Because what I took from it was that there's not a lot of things that you can control, but the things that are in your control, you have to hold tight as fuck to you. And one of the things, like bodybuilding wise, like, hey, you can control what goes in your mouth and you can control your effort in the gym. And if you do those two things, the other things will figure themselves out. And if you do that all across the board, you control how you speak to people, you control how you how you treat other people, you control how you actually eat, or not how you eat, but like how you go about your life, good things will happen. Because if you lead with good intentions, with consistent, relentless effort, you're going to be in a good spot every single time. So I absolutely love that. And I think that Seth is easily one of the best role models in bodybuilding. So if you guys don't follow Seth, follow Seth. If you get the opportunity to shake his hand, shake his hand. He'll take the time to talk to you. He always has with me. And I'm no one fucking special. So you guys are more than welcome if you get the chance to take the chance. Um, Next question. What has Ty's favorite compound been for this previous bulk phase?
Oh, honestly, I think it's just taking like I've learned a lot from Joe's channel. I've been watching that a lot lately, and dude, honestly, I think the most important thing was just taking my test up to a high amount. Like
You
I've been in
comfortable
the
talking dosages?
yeah, absolutely. I've been in the 1,000 milligrams to 1,200 milligrams a week of test, and like I think it's such an underrated compound, especially in today's like safety use models and all that stuff. Like I think just test and like growth hormone, and I'm a big fan of insulin as well, but I think just taking your test up to that high, especially like for me, I'm trying to be an open class bodybuilder at the highest level in the world. Like, and that's another thing I'm very thankful for Seth. Like when I stepped away, I worked with Matt Jansen for a little bit. When I stepped away from him, and Seth was like, "You're gonna coach yourself, and like I'm gonna guide you," and he's like, "You just need to learn your body on your own for a little bit." But like Seth's like, you need to be aware of the risks you're taking, but he's like, you also have to understand that to get to where you want to go, you're going to have to do some ugly things. Like this is open bodybuilding. You're trying to get to become an open bodybuilder at the pro level. So you're going to have to take some risks. So just be aware of that. But I think like Seth just kind of assuring me that like it's going to be a lot, but like it's what's necessary to get there.
100%. It's
Mhm.
I mean, Tess is best, right? Uh
Yeah.
Luke, one of my favorite quotes of all time has been from Luke on the last podcast I did with Joe, which was chicken rice and testosterone. Like, you just do that, you're gonna be set, kid. Um,
Yeah.
it is the truth. Like chicken, rice, testosterone, growth hormone, and insulin
Yes.
is that will 150% get you big.
Hmm.
Do that, train hard, sleep well, stay active so that you don't become a fat fuck, and you will 100% get big. So let's talk about, I think anyone who comes on my channel, I believe at this point is going to understand the test is best. So like, what's a secondary compound that you would say, and we'll keep it in like anabolic. So like secondary compound that you would say is your favorite.
EQ. I'm a
Fuck
big
yeah.
EQ guy. I like EQ. Yeah.
I I have a firm belief on EQ being one of the better drugs to take. Yes, it has a long half-life. Yes, it takes a long time to get into saturation, but if it's always
Hmm.
in, if you run it almost in your cruises at a low dose, it's always in. You don't really have to worry about that. But also just the aspect of like, if you do train at any point with, I think that all programs should have a version of high volume and low volume. Um,
Hmm.
I don't think that any program should ever be one set of everything or two sets of everything. I think there's muscle groups that need higher volume. And those muscle groups will respond well to having EQ in there. EQ is a horse steroid. It's made so that these horses can run a mile and a half quickly and they have the endurance for it. If you're utilizing that aspect of these longer sets, I believe that EQ is going to help benefit you there. They're going to do something that is massively beneficial at the end of the day. So it's something that I absolutely love. Let's get into the next question. We got a long one that somebody wrote in. So during a growth phase, if volume is at a level where you aren't progressing in strength consistently, significantly, does it need to be lowered? Now,
I mean,
a, a little context about this kid specifically. Um, he asks a lot of questions and he's self-coached. So I think he's just looking for an answer as to the volume, but I think that as always, the answer comes down to it depends on a lot of other things. So just to give that little caveat.
Yeah, so like you said, there's a lot that depends on. I mean, like how well is the kid sleeping? Like how well is the kid eating? Uh, for me personally, like if you're not getting stronger, I don't know if I would necessarily say that you need to reduce volume. You could also look at frequency as well. Like maybe you're hitting something too often. I personally don't really like it's one of the big things I got from Seth is like not training something more than every fifth day if you hammer it, like if you really hammer it in a session. Uh, so I would look into that, but I mean, there's it's definitely a possibility. But I would definitely look into nutrition and recovery first before I would ever consider lowering volume, especially in a growth phase when the PEDs are there and the food is there. I really think I think it's really hard to overtrain in a growing phase, especially if you're a younger kid.
Yeah, so I agree 100%. It's a lot easier to under recover than it is to overtrain.
Hmm.
Most people are under recovering. And when you're sitting there and you're saying to someone like, "Oh, should I drop my volume because I'm not growing or I'm not getting significantly stronger in the gym?" Well, maybe you're doing something wrong in the terms of what you're actually doing. Sometimes some exercises just get stuck. It
Hmm.
is what it is. It's not a fun time. I've had it happen on Incline Smith. It happens to me every off season. I get to a certain point, it gets stuck, and there's nothing I can do to will it there except for change my form and execution. I'm not willing to do that.
Yeah.
So you got to swap the exercise sometimes. That might be your thing. You might need to just swap the exercise. You might need to change the order of your exercises. That's another one. So let's say that it's a
Hmm.
push day and you have a high incline Smith, and then you have a flat press, and then you got a dip. Maybe switch it so the flat presses first. That can help you to progress the other movements. Or, hey, now I got to take a regression into high incline Smith, but you'll be able to start building it back up. And
Hmm.
then once you're at a point where, let's say you started with three plates when it was a first movement, once you're at a point where it's three plates as a secondary movement, you put it back to first, you're probably going to be higher up there, probably going to be at least three and a five. So I think that one is you have to take everything in the full context. Also, are you actually in a growth phase? Are you in a growth phase just because your drugs are high and that's why you're going up in your actual weight? Or are you in a growth phase because you are actively growing? Are you actually training correctly to see muscle growth? Or are you sitting there and you're just saying, "Oh, I'm in a growth phase because my drugs are high and food's at like just above maintenance." Especially in like open bodybuilding, you got to push. You kind of can't be quasi about it. And how high did your food get in your off season?
This past push, when I got up to 270, my training days got to 7,200 calories. It was like 400 and something protein. It was 1,200 carbs, and I did very low fat. It was like 40 or 50 grams of fat, and it was just from like trace sources from proteins.
So,
But
that's a perfect example of like he had to push food to get up to the size that he got to. Um,
mhm,
Currently, I mean, I'm on the most amount of food I've ever been on, and I'm
yeah,
3 weeks post show.
hmm,
I'm not at my top body weight, but I'm not that far off. About 13-ish pounds away from like top peak body weight of all time. Um, and guess what? Like my food's gonna go up to get there. I guarantee it. I've been
yeah. I was gonna say it's not
floating
gonna
right
go
around.
down.
Yeah, so
That's
it's
for sure.
like, and with my end goal of like, we're pushing for open to fall in classic, if that makes
Hmm.
sense.
Yeah,
If a classic weight cap's within reach when we're dieting down, we're gonna shoot for it. But the end goal is not to stay in classic long term.
yeah. You're not
So
gonna hold
hey,
yourself back.
no, so we're gonna push for it and see what happens. And I know that that means hey, there's gonna be 7,000 calorie day coming at some point.
Yeah,
All right, cool, right? Like that's true pushing. That's really trying to get big. And like you said, there's a risk with that. Like our digestive systems are not really made to be doing shit like that.
absolutely
Um,
not.
so before we head off this, I want to get this last question in. This comes from JJ, kid I train with on Wednesdays. very tall, unfortunate OCB competitor, but very good kid. What is the biggest thing as a coach you wish more clients relayed to you?
What do you say? The clients did
What
what to me?
relayed to you, like told you? What information do you
Mm.
find pertinent is more so the question.
I actually just had a guy reach out to me about this, but he was eating well, I'd say I'll do one training and one nutrition. Training wise, I wish people communicated with me. Like if I have an exercise that they really don't connect well with, I wish they would communicate that with me more. Like, hey man, like I'm really not feeling this movement. I've tried all the cues you gave me. It's still not clicking. Then like we can do something that's the same movement pattern, but it just might work better for them. And then like same thing with nutrition. I just had a guy reach out to me. He's like, hey man, I'm getting a lot of digestive issues after every time I eat this one vegetable. And I was like, okay, that's fine, man. We'll just switch it out. Like just little things like that where people I think feel like they have to do exactly what's on the plan, like word for word or like that set exercise because they feel like that's what they need to do instead of like voicing like, hey man, like this really isn't working for me. I think we can maybe do something better.
I agree. I think a lot of people are very quick to quit as opposed to explaining what the problem is.
Hmm.
You get a new client and then they get a program, and 90% of the time when you get a new program, like a brand new, never had a coach before, you get overwhelmed by looking at the program. You're not
Yeah.
used to that. And I've had people get their program and be like, hey, just keep my first month. I can't do this. It's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Let's take a step back. What's the actual problem here? What are we uncomfortable with? Do we not know how to cook the food? Do we not know how to batch things together? Where are you having an issue? So it's not so much, or my thing would be, I would like for people to be more specific on where they're actually experiencing issues. Oh, my
Hmm.
digestion sucks. When does your digestion suck? What happened? My hip hurts when I do, or my hip's starting to hurt. All right, so when we're training, at what point in the exercises is your hip starting to hurt? Do you have a video of that? Or I guess that's really my biggest thing, honestly, is more so, can you relay the information that's pertinent of to, I need to see your training. I need to see, I need to know where your digestion is going this skew. I need to know if you're, I don't want to say fucking off on the diet, but like to a degree, if you're saying every day, hey, I really just don't want to eat these vegetables, I want to know that information because
Yeah.
we might have to turn around and switch something else up. Depending on your plan, that might be the load of your micronutrient balance. So, hey, you're supposed to have 100 grams of spinach here. That's going to be a decent chunk of your zinc for that day. If I don't have you taking zinc and you're not having the spinach, might need to change some things up.
Hmm.
So it's just little things like that that I wish people were a little more aware of. So, with that said, like, comment, share, subscribe, all that fun shit. Ty, you have codes for Axel Sledge and AAR?
Oh yeah, it's just notebook. Hmm.
All right, so use the codes notebook for all of your Accent Sledge and All American Roughneck needs. What about Just Work? Do you have a code with them too?
Yeah, same one, notebook. So
And yep. For me, Code Moses at checkout for HD Muscle and Natural Body Inc. If you guys got any questions you want to have Ty back on, shoot a comment down below. Ty, I would love to have you back on. Um, this was awesome.
absolutely,
So
man.
if you guys got anything, just shoot them down below. This will be posted hopefully in the next like 30, 40 minutes. So peace.
Sweet.